Three men entered a lighthouse. Nobody came out. The door was locked from the inside. Dinner sat on the table, untouched, still on the plates. One chair knocked over. Hard, fast. The lamp was dark. The lamp that was never under any circumstances allowed to go dark. No blood, no bodies, no goodbye. Three experienced men, one locked island. 20 miles of open ocean in every direction. December 1900. 124 years. Later, the world still has no answer. What they didn't know is that what those three men witnessed in their final hours would become the most disturbing unsolved mystery in British history. How do three men disappear from a locked room? To understand what happened here, you need to understand where it happened. Eilean Mòr, Gaelic for the Great Island. There is nothing great about it. It is a slab of rock, half a mile long, clawing out of the North Atlantic, 20 miles west of the Scottish mainland. No trees, no shelter, no inhabitants, just stone, seabirds, and waves the size of buildings. The lighthouse was built in 1899. Workers were lowered by rope down 150-foot cliffs just to lay the foundation stones. 3 men died during construction. The British government built it anyway, because ships were dying on those rocks. Dozens of them. Cargo vessels, fishing boats, passenger ships all wrecked on the Flannan Isles in darkness. The lighthouse was the only answer. A warning light. A promise that someone was watching. 3 men were assigned to keep that promise in December 1900. James Ducat, senior keeper. 43 years old, 20 years of experience on the worst waters in Britain. His colleagues used one word to describe him: unshakable. The man had sailed through hurricanes. He did not panic. He did not break. His daughter had been born just months before this shift. Thomas Marshall, assistant keeper, methodical to his core. He wrote in the official logbook every single day weather observations, equipment readings, maintenance records. Every day of his career, he had never missed a single entry. Donald MacArthur, relief keeper. And here's the detail that will matter later. MacArthur was not supposed to be on this island at all. Another keeper fell ill at the last moment. MacArthur volunteered to take his place. He almost said no. December 7th, 1900. They arrive at Eilean Mòr. Normal rotation. For weeks. All 3 had done it before. They lit the lamp. Marshall opened the logbook and wrote the first entry. And then something impossible happened. December 20th, 1900. The Hesperus approaches Eilean Mòr 13 days after the keepers arrived. Captain Jim Harvey sees something wrong before the ship even docks. The lighthouse flag not flying. Supply crates left on the landing rock from the previous delivery still sitting there. Unopened, untouched. Nobody had come to collect them. Harvey sounds the ship's horn. Silence. He fires a signal rocket. Silence. He sends his relief keeper, a man named Joseph Moore, ashore in a small rowboat. Moore climbs the steep stone path to the lighthouse. The entrance gate standing open. The lighthouse door closed but unlocked. He pushes it. It opens. The fireplace is dead, cold for days. The oil lamps unlit. The kitchen table set for a meal. 3 plates. Mutton, potatoes, pickles. Still on the plates. Untouched. As if the men stood up mid-meal and simply ceased to exist. 1 chair on its side. Knocked hard. The kind of fall that happens when someone stands up suddenly in fear or in a hurry or both. The clock on the wall stopped. Moore checks the coats. Ducat's coat on its hook. Marshall's coat on its hook. MacArthur's coat gone. The truth is this single detail has broken every theory investigators would spend the next century constructing. If MacArthur went outside alone in an emergency, where were the others? If all 3 went outside together, why are 2 coats still hanging? If they left calmly, why is dinner still on the table? Moore rows back to the Hesperus. He tells Captain Harvey what he found. Harvey sends a telegram to the Northern Lighthouse Board in Edinburgh. The message contains 4 words. Thomas Marshall wrote in this logbook every day of his professional life. He kept writing during those final days on Eilean Mòr. What he wrote rewrites everything. December 12th, Marshall writes, "Severe winds the likes of which I have never seen in 20 years at sea. Ducat quiet. MacArthur praying." Stop. Read those names again. Ducat, the man described by everyone who knew him as unshakable, is quiet. MacArthur, the experienced Atlantic keeper, is on his knees, praying. December 13th. Storm still raging. All quiet. Donald weeping. Donald weeping. These are not soft men. These are not men who weep at rough weather. These are professionals who chose a life on the most dangerous coastlines in the British Isles. Something on an island or around the island terrified them at a level that broke their professional composure entirely. December 14th. Marshall begins an entry. The pen stops. The sentence is never finished. December 15th, the final entry, written in handwriting that is shakier than the previous entries. Rushed. Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all. God is over all. The last words Thomas Marshall ever committed to paper. And then something impossible happened. Investigators cross-referenced every logbook entry with the official British meteorological records for the Flannan Isles region. December 12th recorded as calm. No storm activity. December 13th recorded as calm. No severe weather. December 14th recorded as calm. The truth is there was no storm. Not in the meteorological office records. Not in the logs of any passing vessel. Not in any official account from any ship operating in that region during those 3 days. Thomas Marshall, the most meticulous record keeper in the lighthouse service, described a storm of extraordinary violence that reduced 2 hardened professional men to silence and tears and prayer. On days when the sea was perfectly still, which means one of 2 things is true. Every official weather record from December 1900 is wrong, or 3 men on a rock in the Atlantic Ocean experienced something that nobody else on Earth could see, hear, or measure. 124 years. Historians, oceanographers, criminologists, psychologists, paranormal investigators, all of them have tried. Every theory fails. Theory 1, the rogue wave. The Flannan Isles are notorious for rogue waves, physics-defying walls of water that appear without warning, reaching heights that seem impossible. Oceanographers confirm they occur regularly in this region. The theory: a single rogue wave swept the loading platform, taking all 3 men into the ocean in seconds. No warning, no survival. But what they didn't know is that investigators examined everything at sea level. The supply crates on the lower landing undisturbed. The iron railings on the cliff path intact. The equipment stores closest to the water untouched. A wave large enough to simultaneously take 3 grown men would have destroyed every one of those things. Theory 1 fails. Theory 2, murder and suicide. 1 keeper experienced a psychological break. Killed the other 2. Disposed of the bodies in the ocean. Then threw himself from the cliffs. Investigators searched every surface of that lighthouse and every outdoor area of the island. No blood. Anywhere. Not on the floors, not on the walls, not on the rocks outside. Not a single drop in any location. And if someone threw 2 bodies into the ocean, how did they also end up in the ocean with their coat, still hanging on the hook inside the locked building? Theory 2 fails. Theory 3, the folklore. Local fishermen refused to land on Eilean Mòr before the lighthouse was built. They called the Flannan Isles a country of the little men spirit territory. Sacred ground, a place where the natural rules did not apply. To go there uninvited was to invite a consequence. After the disappearance, the fishermen of the Western Isles said only this: the island took them back. This theory cannot be investigated with any scientific instrument. It cannot be proven. It also, after 124 years of trying, cannot be disproven. Theory 4, one keeper fled. One keeper committed a crime on that island, fled in panic, swam, or found some means to escape. 20 miles of North Atlantic, in December, water temperature, 4 degrees Celsius. Human survival time at that temperature, less than 30 minutes. There were no other ships in the area. There were no other boats on the island. The Hesperus had the only vessel, and it was in port at the time of the disappearance. Theory 4 fails. Point 4 theories. For failures, and one unanswered question that has circled this island for over a century. The lighthouse is still there, automated since 1971. No keepers, no human presence, just a machine executing its original purpose, turning the light, warning the ships, keeping the old promise. Puffins nest in the rock crevices now. Gray seals rest on the lower ledges. The island has returned to what it was before 1899. A rock in the ocean that belongs to something other than human beings. The Logbook still exists. You can stand in front of it today in a Scottish museum and read Thomas Marshall's entries in his own hand, his precise weather observations, his maintenance records, his description of 3 consecutive days of catastrophic storm, in weather that every official record confirms was calm, and his final line, God is over all. James Ducat's daughter never knew her father. She was months old when he boarded the supply boat and waved at the camera. She spent her whole life asking the question that the whole world was asking. She died without an answer. What happened to the man who was unshakable and went quiet? What happened to the man who never missed a single logbook entry and stopped writing mid-sentence? What happened to the man who almost did not go and left without his coat? No bodies have ever been recovered. No physical evidence has ever been found. No theory has survived every fact. And the light keeps turning. Through every winter since 1900, through every North Atlantic storm, through every theory that rose and fell and failed, through 124 years of questions that have no answers, some lights keep shining even when no one is left to tend them. Leave your theory in the comments and subscribe, because the next mystery we're covering doesn't have 3 missing men. It has 300